Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. Hey guys, welcome back to J is for Justice. My name is Jay. I am your host today for this wonderful show we have. I have a packed show for you. I want to thank my moderators for showing up today. Showing up and showing out is Flo and Real Angie B. We got Melissa Hex, who's also coming in at 48 months of membership here on J is for Justice. She said 4 years. Until that, Jay.
Or is it a cigar?
It's a long time. Thank you so much, Melissa. And Belinda Buckner, 2 months. Thank you, Belinda Buckner, Miss BB. Appreciate all your hard work. Thanks. Thank you. The dogs say thank you as well. You know my dogs are always here. Hello, hello. Hey, Paul. Hey, Kels. Kels is in the bushes. Good to see you guys. So I've been really excited to do this episode because, like I said, 2026 is going to be the year of the exposure of all these creeps. I know, my dogs. Hold on. Would you guys believe that's the mailman making his regular rounds every day, same time every day? They act like it's someone new. Hey, Liz, good to see ya. Hello, Bossy. Hello, Jerry. Yeah, we got Melissa Gilbert up on the stage for our first clip as we get into today's stream. We are going to be calling them out. Cindy Arnold, thank you for being here. Auntie Cheryl is here too. Hey, beautiful. I hope everybody is having a good Tuesday. But following this live, we have a surprise. Mr. Tim is in court at 4 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to go through the documents. We're going to go through some clips. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. And then we will flip over to the 4 p.m. hearing. So at today's hearing, this is going to be a little bit different today because New Mexico rolls a little differently than what we're used to. Okay, so hear me out. The weird things about New Mexico are the following. The polygraph that Timothy took. I'd rather be a Buckner than a Busfield today. But he took a polygraph and passed it according to his lawyer. And in New Mexico, polygraphs are admissible. Wild, I know, right? So that's going to be something new for me, is following a case where a polygraph is actually meaningful and is admissible. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so the polygraph is actually admissible. And the other thing is the judge will decide today if Timothy can get out or not. And if he can't get out, or if he can get out, rather, he does not have to pay a bond. So in Arizona or in New Mexico, they don't make you pay a bond or post bail. So that won't be an option. He's either going to get out or he's not. And he took a polygraph, which he passed, and that could play a role. So that is going to be interesting to see coming up here at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard today. I want to look at the poll too. Hey, Cinnamon Hot. He could have been on mass amounts of Xanax during polygraph, and we don't know what questions he was asked. Seems flaky. Good point. I'll be interested to hear more about the poly. Hey, Horsewoman and Wendy. Good to see you. Angie B gifted. Oh, Felicia. Felicia, welcome to the Clicker Crew. We're called the Clicker Crew because we click, 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 click. It's really easy, man. But we click a lot because we go into rabbit holes sometimes. So welcome to the Clicker Crew. It's going to be interesting to see what you guys think. So let's start out with our poll. I asked before the stream began, did anybody watch any shows with this guy in it? It looks like 41% of you said yes. 59% said no. I personally never watched any shows with this creep in it. I got to be careful calling him a creep, but the accusations are pretty creepy. He actually got 75 letters of character references. TMZ is saying this morning that they have audio of the victims saying that Tim did not touch them. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. But thank you so much, Angie B, for gifting a clickership. And Felicia got it. Thank you so much. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about how this all broke down, what happened. So the first thing that we're going to start from the very beginning as if we don't know anything. There is an arrest warrant put out for Timothy Busfield's arrest. He does not contact anyone. He is a no-show to turn himself in. Aw. Thank you, Kels. It's already been 21 months. Wow. 21 months with Kels. She said, love your work, love your heart. Thank you for being such a good friend. True crime besties forever. I love you, Kels. I hope everybody is feeling better at your house and on the mend. I know that's not easy. Love ya, love ya, love ya. You watched 30-something, but not West Wing. I didn't watch any of it. Thank God. And I've never been a huge movie buff. So I've never seen the Little League, Big League. That's going to come up in this. Little League, Big League. Also Field of Dreams. I've never seen these movies. Okay. You guys are going to be like, oh my God, you never seen Field of Dreams. No, I haven't. I've never been interested in it. So I've never seen it. I don't come up from a place where I've ever idolized these guys, if you will. I saw Revenge of the Nerds for sure. And I did not know that was him until recently. That Poindexter was actually this Tim Busfield guy. Never knew Poindexter's real name. Field of Dreams is Jay's nightmare. Oh, I'm sure. It's probably got all the creepos. I hope he feels better, Kels. That's all horrible. Hey, Mary Doty, thank you for subscribing. Elaine, I'm with you. Elaine C says, I've never seen those movies either because I don't watch a lot of movies. Me either. Okay. So he has this arrest warrant. He does it in New Mexico. He lives in New York with his wife, who's on the screen, Melissa Gilbert, who was from Little House on the Prairie. Melissa Gilbert has her own past being a childhood actor. If you guys remember that on Little House on the Prairie, her boyfriend / husband, Almanzo, was way older than her. I would have to pull it up to get the exact ages, but he was an adult male and she was a teenager in Little House on the Prairie. It was a different time. I get that, but she has her own demons being a childhood actor as well, which we're not going to get into today. But we are going to start off with Tim not turning himself in and his house in New York being raided. 30-something was a series, yes. I saw his face when 30-something was popular. I definitely wasn't 30-something then, so I wouldn't have watched it. But we're going to get into the back allegations that he was accused of. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today. So let's watch this first one about the raid.
He will continue to be held without bond.
The West Wing star in an orange jumpsuit faced a New Mexico judge this afternoon. His appearance lasted about a minute and he did not address the court. Busfield will remain in detention without bond. His next hearing will be held within 5 days. This morning, Busfield's attorney claimed he passed an independent polygraph test, but just hours before, a stunning new filing as police identified another alleged victim, a Sacramento girl who claimed the actor sexually abused her when she was 16. Adding to the drama, less than an hour after Busfield turned himself in to authorities, this was the chaotic scene 2,000 miles away. The Daily Mail Plus, with the video as officers raided and rammed open the door of the upstairs.
These are serious charges, you guys. You don't just get this kind of force over minute charges. And we have to keep in mind, this is not civil. This isn't like the Michael Jackson case. These are criminal charges. And there was enough. Hey, Galen, I didn't see you earlier. Good to see you. There's enough evidence for a prosecutor to press these charges. And Cinnamon Hot, you have a really good point. We're going to hear from Tim himself how his mother was an alcoholic. So it's really shocking to me to see the alcohol use, especially in him. And my God, if you saw the podcast that Melissa Gilbert and Tim Busfield did over COVID, she looked like she was hopped up on Addie's or Coke or something. She couldn't stop moving. They are a wild couple. Elaine, I don't get why they had to bust the door down like that and stuff though when it was home. I think there was cross communication because remember it took him like 4 days to drive from New York to New Mexico. He said he drove. So he's driving to New Mexico to turn himself in. They're at his house in New York. He's not answering the door, so they're busting it down. So he has the drunk look too. Yes, Melissa Gilbert's husband on Little House was 30-something. Michelle Salter, you become one of my favorite YouTubers. Thank you so much. Hey, Mr. Claude Henry Smoot. All right, let's keep going.
State New York home he shares with his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert.
The raid on Busfield's New York house looks like a coincidence of timing. It looks like the marshals and local authorities got there too late because he had already left.
It is, Anders.
What is the secret to this marriage?
Mutual respect. We have the same values and ideas.
Melissa is standing by her husband, and in a statement, her rep said, quote, during this period, her focus is on supporting and caring for their very large family.
And you've got grandchildren now.
I have grandchildren now. I have 8 grandchildren.
And we're learning
That's
more
concerning.
about the beloved cabin, complete with a chicken coop that was raided by authorities.
This is our little house in the Catskills.
You are finding yourself in the Catskills, so upstate New York, and rehabbing this cottage cabin that you like to call the cabbage.
The cabbage.
The couple brought.
Well, I watched an interview with Melissa Gilbert when she talked about how uncomfortable it was doing the kissing scenes and the love scenes with Almanzo, and that she had actually asked not to do those. And when she asked not to do those, she said those scenes became more frequent. She was exploited too. I don't give a damn if the dude was 30 or 22 or 21. She was a 15 or 14-year-old girl. DP, welcome to Clickers. Thank you for becoming a member today. Look at their poor doggo. So there's a dog in there and they just leave? That doesn't make much sense. Someone had to be in there. Look at, there's a dog. You guys see that? They just drove 4 days with the dog there? What happened to the dog? Oh, man, he had to have been scared. I care more about the dog than these people.
Bought the rundown property in 2019 for $98,000. Melissa told us it was their safe place during the pandemic, and it reminded her of her childhood shooting Little House.
It was their safe place during the pandemic. They were wild during the pandemic.
On the prairie.
I love communing with nature, and I always wanted to have that in my life. And when I met and married Tim Busfield, my extraordinary husband, luckily we found this rundown little hunting cabin in the middle of nowhere that had been sealed up for decades and was musty and smelly. But we were able to turn that into a safe place to be and literally made it inhabitable by Thanksgiving, Christmas of 2019. And we were locked down on March 13th.
All right, so that tells you the beginnings of this debacle. Now we are going to listen to the DA. This is the district attorney in New Mexico. He's going to address the charges, and then we're going to go over the criminal complaint. I'm going to read through it with you. But we're going to take a listen to this. I'm going to speed him up a little bit.
My name is Sam Bregman. I'm the Bernalillo County District Attorney. The reason that I've called this news conference today is because of the significant public attention this case has generated.
So he was getting flooded with calls, flooded with calls. And then he had to do this press conference because the media was flooding his office, which I love, because transparency is key in these cases.
This news conference provides us with an opportunity for our office to address the numerous media inquiries all at once. First and foremost, it's important to emphasize that the defendant, Timothy Busfield, is presumed innocent and until and unless he is proven guilty in a court of law. I want to go over the timeline of the recent events in this case. An arrest warrant for the defendant was issued on January 9th, 2026, and approved by my office. 5 days later, the defendant voluntarily turned himself in and was booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center in Albuquerque on January 13th. The defendant
what was he doing for 5 days?
Charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact of a minor, child under 13, and 1 count of child abuse. Under New Mexico law, each count of criminal sexual contact carries up to 6 years of incarceration, and child abuse carries up to 3 years. On Wednesday, the defendant made his initial appearance before a Metropolitan Court judge. At the hearing, the judge ordered the defendant be detained at this time due to our request that he remain in custody pending trial. The district attorney's office routinely files pretrial detention motions involving cases that have these
Exactly,
types of
Cindy,
charges.
they don't.
Our office has indeed filed a motion for pretrial detention, requesting that the defendant remain in custody while his case proceeds through the courts. The case has now been transferred to district court. Judge Murphy will have a hearing on January 20th at 2 p.m. to determine whether the defendant will remain in custody or be released pending trial. After that hearing, we will bring formal charges against the defendant. The defendant will be arraigned on the formal charges. The court will then set a scheduling conference where deadlines
I agree
will
with
be
that, Hex.
established, at which time a trial date will be set. As with all criminal cases referred to my office, my prosecutors will fully evaluate this matter and proceed based on the evidence
I mean,
and in the
holding him with
interest
no bond?
of justice. Anyone with information relating to this matter should contact law enforcement. Our priority is
This is really interesting to me, and you're going to be floored in the clips. If you haven't watched my clips video of Tim Busfield, he says many times towards the end as well, if you have any information, contact us. I think this guy could have numerous victims because you're going to hear this guy's been in school systems in several states for decades, since 30-something. He's been doing children's theater. So we're going to learn a little bit more about his brother, Buck Busfield, as well. I got so much to share. I'm so excited. You guys are just going to be know-it-alls when you leave today.
is to protect the rights of everyone involved. That is why at this time, we will not discuss the facts of this case. We understand, trust me, I understand. I understand there is great interest regarding the facts. and the specifics of this matter. But my first obligation and the obligation of my office is to ensure the integrity of this process. The rules of professional conduct are clear, that prosecutors should try cases in the courtroom and not in the media. And that is what we intend to do. Now, based on what I've just told you, if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them, but recognize, please, that I'm going to be limited because, as I said, I'm not going to discuss the specific facts of this case. The professional rules of conduct don't allow me to do that. So, if there are things I can answer in a
Lily
general
Ray,
sense,
that's
I will.
sick.
But, and I know there.
Hey, that's a
there may
good
be-
question. Where the hell was she during those 5 days? Did she drive with him or did he drive alone? Why did he drive? Why didn't he get on a plane and turn himself in?
Frustrated, but I just want you all to know one of the reasons I had this was because our office has been bombarded, and we welcome, and we're transparent. We welcome the media and the fact that you all are seeking information. And there's been so many inquiries
Hey,
from across
Cricket.
this country, across this state, across the world, quite frankly, that we wanted to make sure that we could do this as much as possible at once so that we wouldn't have individual outlets being very, very frustrated with us. So with that said, is there a particular question that I can answer? Yes.
Have you guys received any additional calls from other potential victims? If so, how many?
I'm not going to specifically address that. I will tell you that this matter is very much still under investigation.
You talked about patterns
Okay, so she asked, how many more victims have you heard from? And he said, I'm not answering that.
of grooming and behavior that was very inappropriate. Can you get into any of those details as far as what your investigators have?
Oh, wow,
I
Galen.
appreciate the question, and I think you were referring to, I didn't just speak to that, but I think you're referring to the arrest warrant and the criminal complaint. There are 3 documents currently filed in court. One of them is an arrest warrant and criminal complaint. Another one is a motion for pretrial detention. Those documents, if you want to look for answers to those particular questions, those documents I think you can see, and they contain the allegations in this matter. But I'm not just going to simply regurgitate those documents. It's not appropriate. But I will tell you that those documents do exist, and I encourage anyone who doesn't have a copy of any particular document.
And I really appreciated this out of this DA that he didn't regurgitate the horrible details in these documents that we're going to go over in this press conference, because it definitely is not necessary. It's really only necessary to hear those accusations one time.
To let us know or to go to the courts and get a copy, because you can get that. Yes, sir.
Yes, DA Brigman, is there concerns in a general sense that when someone is accused that they post a video saying that they'll defend the
He in the
allegations
woods.
and then go all the way up to 9 Mile Hill and turn themselves into the jail?
Well, again, I'm not going to speak to the specifics of I think you're referring to the defendant in this matter. I'm not going to speak to specifics of what he did or didn't do prior to turning himself in. We're going to focus on presenting our case to the court. Our immediate focus is on that pretrial detention motion, and that's what we're going to concern ourselves with at this point. Yes?
Timothy Busfield's attorney says that he conducted an independent polygraph and passed. What does that say about your investigation? Is that something that would be admissible?
Well, I will tell you, I'm not going to speak to what the defendant's attorney is going to do or has done. I'm going to speak to what we are, the investigation that law enforcement is doing together with our office, and I'll speak to that, or our prosecutors will speak to that in a courtroom.
Can you talk at all about just your concerns about these allegations? They are very serious.
I will say this in general. In this office, the district attorney's office in Albuquerque takes very seriously these type of charges, just like we do all the cases. Our job is to hold people accountable, and that's what we do. And obviously, I have personally tried cases involving child abuse and sexual assaults. And we focus on that in a big way in this office. We hold everybody accountable, and they're extremely serious.
I like this guy.
Is there any sense of a court date that has been set, or is that still being discussed?
So, again, just to kind of talk about that specifically. So the pretrial detention motion that's going to be heard is the first next thing that's going to happen. That's January 20th at 2 p.m. in front of Judge Murphy. Next, after that, we'll be bringing formal charge. After that hearing, we'll be bringing formal charges. Then he'll be arraigned. Then a pretrial conference or a scheduling conference,
which is today,
will be set, in which deadlines and dates will be established by the court. And part of that will include a trial setting. So we don't know that yet. I will tell you that overall, most of the time, these type of cases take between a year and 18 months to complete. and I don't see why this shouldn't reflect the same kind of time frame. But again, I don't speak for judges and their dockets. They get to speak for themselves on that.
On January 20th, is there a chance that he will be released?
That's completely up to the judge. That is absolutely right. There is a chance that he will be released. That decision will be made by the judge. We are filing a pretrial detention motion, and our concerns are articulated in that. Why we are asking the court to hold the defendant detained pending trial. It's pretty much laid out in that pretrial detention motion, and I would direct you to see what the reasons are for that. To that document to see what the reasons are.
So would you fight that he be detained?
Excuse me?
Would you suggest that he will be?
Yes, they do.
Oh, we already the prosecution, the state of New Mexico, has already filed that motion to detain him. Yes.
Can you talk about any of the history for Mr. Busfield?
No, but I won't do that right now. I will tell you that some of that is outlined in the documents that have been filed in court. Yes.
Could you tell us about your department that handles this kind of case, that highlighting how many people that go after predators and then people that group children?
I'll just tell you in general about my office. We have close to, I think, 120 prosecutors in this office. We have some of the most amazing, fantastic prosecutors who have done it many years, including child abuse and child sexual assaults. I'm very proud of them. They do hard work and they bring justice for the people of this county. And they do great work. And I have been able to try cases with them as co-chairs in the courtroom, and I'm constantly impressed by their professionalism and their abilities in the courtroom. Yes?
You guys are requesting that he stays locked up during these court proceedings. Usually that's out of safety concerns for himself or other people. What is it about Timothy Busfield that makes you concerned if he is released?
Just to be clear, we file motions routinely on cases like this. That have the same type of charges. This is something we do, and it's not specific to this case. This is, it may be in some respects, but overall, this is what we do.
I hope so, Cinnamon.
We ask for pretrial detention motions in cases like this, and certainly that is what we're doing in this case. Pretrial detention motions in general are filed because the DA's office believes that for the safety of the community's sake, it is important that they remain in custody because of the danger to the community, and no reasonable conditions can be set to guarantee that safety for the community.
Right. I mean,
that's why we have filed our pretrial detention motions.
How can you protect the community from a predator if he's a predator? You got to take those precautions. I hope he's not let out today. I know, Delaney. I heard they were coming out with that this morning, but we have to keep in mind that this DA right here had enough evidence to arrest him. And TMZ likes to, do PR cleanup for celebrities. Don't forget that. I've never liked him either, Vanessa. Like when I saw him on 30-something when it was on, regular TV, I was always like, ooh.
In cases across the board, and we file a lot of them. I think over last year we had over 800 defendants detained pre-trial. In New Mexico, some time ago, we changed our bail system. We no longer really have the normal bail system. It's either you're in or you're out. And if you're out, it means the judge has determined that there can be conditions of release that can be fashioned that will secure the safety of the community. If you're not out, then there's not, at least in the judge's opinion, there's not things that can be put in place to preserve the safety of the community.
And DA Bregman, Timothy Busfield is defending himself, going on camera saying that these are all lies. How confident are you that this case is solid?
Well, listen, I'll just talk in general, and I think you'll hear my answer on that. This office, we have a very clear, high standard of professionalism. We don't bring cases forward. We don't agree to prosecute any case unless we believe beyond a reasonable doubt that we can convict them.
Right.
No doubt.
There you go. He's not going to bring charges unless he thinks he's got a case. So I don't know what to think of the TMZ thing, but there's more than just the two twins that came forward. There's also a 16-year-old girl who has come forward, and I think we have a clip of her dad talking. There was a 16-year-old girl also that they settled with. And that father talks about it. He shouldn't have settled.
Beyond a reasonable doubt, is what I said.
Do you have any doubts?
So I'm not going to get into that kind of an answer. We are going to argue and provide evidence to a jury of his peers in the future, and we'll wait till then to comment. Yes.
Mr. Bregman, is there any statement that you would like to say to any victims or potential victims that may come forward?
No, listen, in general, not specifically even to this case whatsoever, of course we want victims and survivors to always contact this office. We have a very large victims advocate unit here in this office. We're very proud of the work we do with all types of victims. But I would encourage, as I said earlier, anyone with information about this should please contact law enforcement, please. All right then. Thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate it.
He's begging other victims to come forward. Okay, so before we get into, I have the criminal complaint right here, but I think it's important to watch some of this. Hold on. Okay, so Megyn Kelly, lover or hater, I hate what she said about Epstein. However, she is calling out Melissa Gilbert and Timothy Busfield. But what she did, and I was telling you guys about this on my other channel, Every Day with Jay, that she used an AI tool that detects deception in Timothy Busfield's statement he made to the media right before he went and turned himself in. And who was the first to get the video of Timothy Busfield before he turned himself in?
Melissa Gilbert
TMZ.
Situation. So he's a famed
It was TMZ who got the video of him that they're going to analyze here. But I thought this was really interesting. So let's take a listen.
And director, and she's famous from her time on Little House on the Prairie and went on to do some directing too. And he's been on the lam. He was a warrant for his arrest was issued on Friday out of New Mexico for allegedly molesting 2 7-year-old boys. We went through it in detail in our Monday show.
Hey, Jim.
So that was issued on Friday. He didn't turn himself in. Saturday, he didn't turn himself in. Sunday, he didn't turn himself in. Monday, he didn't turn himself in. All day yesterday, he didn't turn himself in. I mean, it's crazy. And it was to the point where a team of agents, do we have that video, you guys, went to his house in upstate New York that he shares with Melissa Gilbert.
We saw that.
Battering.
Let's get she couldn't believe they busted in. Okay, here we go.
Show up in New Mexico and turned himself in day 5 after the arrest warrant was issued, and then issued this on-camera video. Watch this.
Hi, everybody. It's Tim. I'm sure most of you know that are watching this that I was ordered to come to Albuquerque. I'm here.
See the watermark? TMZ. TMZ is, to me, the cleanup for celebs.
Now, I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car and drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque. I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible. They're all lies. And I did not do anything to those little boys. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with a great team. And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies. So hang in there. And hopefully I'm out real soon.
Hang in there.
And back to work. And I love everybody for supporting me. Thank you.
Okay. No explanation other than I had to drive 2,000 miles to Albuquerque. No, you call and you say, I'm ready to surrender myself. Where would you like me to do it? Clearly they did not know where he was or what he was doing, or we would not have seen a battering ram being used on his upstate New York property
right?
within an hour of him turning himself in New Mexico. He clearly had not been in communication with anybody. We don't know where he was, what he was doing. You do not need to drive 2,000 miles to Albuquerque. There are these magical things called planes, and they'll get you right there when a warrant is out for your arrest. Had to get a lawyer. The things he was listing to me did not sound like real reasons to delay by 5 days your turning yourself in. Something's up here. And if you look at the comments where this video is posted, they're very overwhelmingly negative. People do not believe him. And I'll tell you why they don't believe him, Emily. It's because we all have a natural lie detector in our guts. And whether you know it or not, you have a lifetime of experience that feeds it and fuels that lie detector. And it's little subtle things that your brain knows that you might not even be conscious of, that it's perceiving, that are telling you, I don't believe him. And we reached out to our own friend, the human lie detector, Phil Houston. 25 years at the CIA. He invented the deception detection method being used at the CIA, at the FBI, and at law enforcement departments all over the United States, the Secret Service. You keep going. Phil Houston is the one who came up with it. He is a human lie detector. He knows all the signs of lying. And he spent half of that time in the CIA figuring out bad guys who we believed were assets of ours, who in fact had wound up working for a foreign adversary. And the other half figuring out at CIA HQ who of our agents had turned on us and was a double agent. I mean, this guy was placed in the most serious positions you could be to figure out who's lying. So he's a true expert. He wrote the books By the Lie. You should read it. So he's running a firm now called Q Verity. And he has created an AI lie detector that goes by the letter Q. They've given him the gender he. But
Oh,
Q, and
AI
I've
lie
talked to him many
detector.
times about Q, and Q has a 97% accuracy rate of determining.
Q has a 97% accuracy rate. An AI lie detector. What do you guys think of this? I want one.
Determining whether someone is being deceptive. And if you're being deceptive, he gives you the conclusion of deceptive behavior indicated. He doesn't say lie. He says deceptive behavior indicated. And I'm going to read you the Q analysis of Timothy Busfield's statement, provided to us by Phil Houston and Q Verity. The speaker repeatedly offers irrelevant background and assurances, greeting the audience, describing his travel to Albuquerque, mentioning he hired a lawyer, vowing to confront and fight the allegations, calling them lies, and thanking supporters, none of which directly address the specific charge of molesting children. These off-topic details function as avoidance tactics, diverting attention from the core question. Only after this extended narrative does he briefly deny the accusation, quote, "I did not do anything to those little boys," end quote. A minimal response following extensive digression that is characteristic of a deceptive approach to the allegations. Conclusion, deceptive behavior indicated. And then Phil added the following. In our opinion, this is a great example of a situation where a lot of people will believe his remarks because of the aggressive delivery approach and his attack behavior toward the opposition. In reality, it's the type of response we often see from people who have committed serious wrongdoing. For the record, he denies the charges and plans to deny and defend them in court. This is from somebody I trust implicitly when it comes to these analyses. Take it with a grain of salt. It's obviously not foolproof. It could be wrong 3% of the time, but very interesting, no?
Well, it's very interesting you brought that up, because my reaction to watching the video was, I do not believe him, and something's off. Something was weird about the video. And so then to have Phil come in.
Wow, Summer, you've been with me since the Periscope days where I was on my sofa. Summer D is a true OG. I love you. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so we're going to flick over here. We're done with that. We're going to flick over here to the actual criminal complaint. And this may be hard to hear. There's probably, I haven't read the whole thing, but I'm sure there's some pretty gruesome details in here. So if you don't want to hear this, you might want to pop out and pop back in a little bit. So this is Timothy Busfield's criminal complaint arrest warrant, the one that it took him 5 days to turn in. And I kind of feel like that AI thing we could have gotten just putting the transcript in Chat GPT probably would have told us something like similar. All right, so this is written on the 19th day of October 2022. Wait, what is this? Oh, okay. The undersigned, under penalty of perjury, complains and says that on or about the 19th day of October in 2022 in the county of Bernalillo. Hang on. I got to blow this up. Even the metas, I'm still blind. Hold on. Okay. Bernalillo, state of New Mexico, the above named defendant did. Affiant is a full-time sworn law enforcement officer with Albuquerque Police. Affiant is currently assigned to the Child Exploitation Detail and has been with the Albuquerque Police since March of '89. His duties include follow-up investigations on felonies, including but not limited to child exploitation, criminal sexual penetration of minors, investigations of ex-offenders, registration laws, and ex-offenses. Affiant is also familiar and trained in the county and state laws governing these offenses. The affiant knows the full identity of the victim and his brother. However, to protect their identity, their initials will be used. I will refer to the victim as SL, date of birth 9/11/2014, and the brother VL, date of birth 9/11/14. So they were born in 2014, which would make them 12. Is that right? Anyways, on October 10th of 2025, I was assigned to case number 240090579 for follow-up investigation. Well, we're going back to 11/1/2024. On 11/1 of 2024, Officer Osborne was dispatched to 9020 Retablo Road Northwest in reference to caller identified as Dr. Tyler Christensen of the University of New Mexico Hospital, who was calling for a sex abuse investigation. So if you have a doctor calling you who is a mandated reporter, this is probably where the evidence comes in. Officer Osborne talked with Angel, and Ronald, who advised that their children are child actors and had been on a TV series called The Cleaning Lady. A new director, identified as Timothy Busfield, joined the series and grew closer to the boys. It was reported that Timothy would tell his children to call him Uncle Tim. Ronald and Angel told Officer Osborne they both discovered that there were allegations against Timothy of SA against both women and minors. Ronald told Officer Osborne that there had been multiple rumors that Tim had been handsy with women. Angel informed the officer that she had her children, VL and SL, who were 11 at the time, if anyone ever touched them in a manner that made them feel uncomfortable. The children responded by asking, "You mean Uncle Tim?" Ronald went into a law firm that recommended that the two take the children to UNMH, which they did. It was reported that while at UNMH, the staff there advised that it appears the children were groomed. In reference to a CART exam, it was advised that they would reach out for a full CART exam. Officer Osborne talked with VL and SL, who did not disclose any actual contact at this time. However, both boys advised that Timothy Busfield, whom they referred to as Uncle Tim, would tickle them on the stomach and legs. Neither boy cared for the tickling. Officer Osborne contacted Detective Michael Brown with the Crimes Against Children unit and determined that the case did not meet their acceptance criteria at this time. Wow. So they reported this, but they didn't have enough evidence then, is what it sounds like. On 10/3/2025, Angel LaSalle reported to Child Protective Services that her children both disclosed that there was SA by Tim. She called Child Protective Services for her own kids. Disclosed there was SA by Timothy from around November of 2022 to spring of 2024. Angel advised that she filed a police report, but was initially told by law enforcement since Timothy had not physically touched the children, there was nothing they could do. Angel advised that her children were groomed and SA'd by Timothy. Angel advised that on 9/2/2025, SL reported to his counselor that Timothy Busfield touched his penis and bottom. So if we go back up here, I know he can't be charged criminally with the tickling, but if you look at the rules on sets in Hollywood now, there are rules, there are guidelines, and touching between the director and the actors is completely off limits. However, Tim was left alone with these boys on set, which is yet another no-no. On 10/14 of 2025, a Safe House interview was scheduled for VL and SL for 10/13/2031. So these poor boys had to give a statement or an interview on this shit on Halloween when they should have been trick-or-treating. Angel, Ty LaSalle, and Ronald Rodas. On 10/17, I contacted Angel by phone, who was out of town traveling with her husband, Ronald. I spoke with the two on speaker and advised them I would be investigating SL and VL's disclosures to their therapist. Angel told me that on 9/3/2025, SL disclosed to his therapist, Yolanda Yeoman, who works at All Faiths Children Advocacy, that Timothy Busfield touched both his genitalia and bottom. On 10/23/2025, I submitted 2 search warrants for approval to the DA's office for SL's medical records from Journey Pediatrics and All Faiths Mental Health Services. On 10/24/24, I executed both search warrants for I think he means 25, for SL's medical records. On 10/30, I received the therapist records from All Faiths. I did review the documents by Yolanda, licensed medical social worker, who documented therapy sessions with SL. Yolanda diagnosed SL, who was 10 at this time, with PTSD, moderate. I also viewed an incident report submitted on 9/2/2025 by Yolanda that documented SL disclosing that a director of a series in which SL was an actor had engaged in inappropriate touching. Previous disclosures were being touched on the arm, chest, and back. While Yolanda was updating SL's treatment plan, SL disclosed that the director had also touched his penis and buttocks. On 9/9/2025, Yolanda documented SL disclosing having nightmares about the director touching him and waking up scared. SL also disclosed that the director had touched or rubbed his pee 3 or 4 times and appeared to be ashamed. On 10/29/2025, I reviewed the patient care summary for SL submitted by Zoe Howell, MD. The most recent encounter on 9/22/2025 discussed an assessment plan for SA of a child. I did not find any disclosures from SL during this visit. On 6/24, Zoe Howell, MD, saw SL, who was accompanied by his mother, Angel, who gave the background of this criminal sexual contact involving a member working on the set of the television series Cleaning Lady. After reviewing past medical records, it was documented that SL and his brother were child actors in a show called The Cleaning Lady and experienced grooming and inappropriate touching by a member on set between 2023 and 2024. Both SL and VL were evaluated at UNM Pediatrics Urgent Care on November 1st, 2024, and it was reported with the Albuquerque Police Department. They have been in therapy since 2025, so she didn't start them in therapy back when the inappropriate touching was reported. That's kind of sus. SL has issues with bedwetting along with other behavioral issues. SL was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety, and they're both not currently on medication. On October 31st, 2025, both boys were taken to All Faiths Children Advocacy Center for a safe house interview. I did watch both interviews and recorded and conducted by a forensic child interviewer. SL was first. During the interview, SL said that Tim touched him while he was on a movie set. SL told the interview that the first time Tim touched him was when he was 7. He described it as his parents no longer having an iPad to watch the set, and when the director, who was Tim, said cut, Tim would come into the bedroom on the movie set and touch SL's private areas. SL provided a drawing to the interviewer showing how he was alone with Tim in this room. SL said that Tim would grab his waist along with both hands while SL was lying on his back in the bed of the movie set. Tim would then touch all over SL's body, including his private area, where SL described his private area as where he poops and pees, also referred to in medical terms as the gluteus maximus and the pee. SL said Tim touched his poop and pee area over the clothing 5 or 6 times between sets. After the sets were over, he said he was scared and speed walked to his father and hid behind his dad. SL said the second time he was touched was when he was 8. While he was on the set, SL describes the movie set as the same first set. SL said Tim touched him 3 or 4 times in his poop and pee area over his clothing. SL said he was very afraid of Tim and was relieved when he was off set. SL said that he was afraid to tell anyone because Tim was the director and he feared Tim would get mad at him. SL did advise Tim touched him while he was only on set filming in Albuquerque. I did learn that the television series The Cleaning Lady was filmed at 9201 Pan American Freeway Northeast in Albuquerque. And I wanted to show you guys that because I did Google. I want to show you guys this place where they film. I just thought it was interesting because I'm nosy. You guys are probably nosy too. So this is the place where they film. They must like rent space. But this is it right here in Albuquerque. It's called, wait, hold on, let's go over here. It's called Cinelise Studios. Isn't that wild? It's like in the middle of nowhere. Literally. So that's the place where it happened. And I'll show you some of the pictures inside there. Oh, you're in Albuquerque, Ark. Oh, wow. Hold on. Okay. Anyways, I lost it.
And the other half figuring out at CIA HQ who of our.
I just closed out one of my things. Okay, we're just going to go back to the document. Anyways, lots of movies and shows are filmed there. Okay, so we're going to move on to VL's interview. During VL's interview, he told the interviewer that his dad was worried about him because Mr. Tim was touching his brother and him. VL advised that Mr. Tim was the director and that they had a lot of directors, but Tim was the new one. VL explained that Mr. Tim started touching them the first 2 years, and he did not want to say anything because he did not want to be mean to him. Therefore, VL didn't say anything. VL said Tim would start touching him with his hands about his body while they were filming in the house. VL advised that it was about his body, but did not disclose that he was touched on his buttocks or pee area. VL said he did not like being touched, but did not say anything because he did not want to get in trouble. On 11/30/2025, I contacted Angel to follow up. Angel told me about the iPads that the crew would hand out to parents while their children were filming. So these two parents were not in show business. Like they've never, they don't have anything to do with show business prior to their twins being in the cleaning lady. This would allow the parents to watch their children while they're filming. Angel could not remember the exact date when they quit passing the iPads out, but advised that it was after Timothy started directing. I asked Angel to explain how SL was allowed to be alone with Tim while on the movie set when there were other people around. Angel advised me that when the director is directing someone in a scene, a lot of the time people will let them talk, just the two of them or wherever it is. When the director says cut, a lot of the time people are rushing around trying to get to the next shot. Angel advised that she had started noticing SL becoming uncomfortable around Timothy. She saw this during a live photo that was taken of Timothy and SL, and Timothy was caressing SL's head. Timothy Busfield interview. On 11/3/2025, I left a message with Tim Busfield asking him to return my call. So he's known this is coming since 11/3. At 10:44 a.m., I received a call from Tim Busfield, who advised me I was on speakerphone with him and his wife, Melissa. Tim advised me that the two were in New York at the time. I did advise him I was investigating a case that was assigned to me and asked Tim if he'd like to speak with me about the case. He did want to speak with me at this time. I did inform Tim that Detective Josh Dennison would be sitting in on the interview and that I would need to read him the Miranda warning before starting the interview. At 10:47, Tim agreed to talk with me after the Miranda warning. I explained to Tim a child had disclosed information about something that happened to him while directing the child on the TV show The Cleaning Lady. Tim told me he started directing the show in season 2, close to the final episode, 3 years ago in 2022. Tim said there were 12 episodes and that had to be 11. I asked Tim if he remembered there were iPads for parents to watch their kids. Tim said we don't really like that parents had their iPads while on set. And that was not a standard process, and that they do not encourage it. Why would he not encourage it? I asked Timothy if the parents were allowed to have iPads to watch their children before he started directing. Timothy told me he thought there might have been iPads. He then continued to say that the children were never alone on set without the teacher, a welfare worker, or a parent. Timothy said he did not know the iPad was taken away and that this would have gone through him. I asked him if he knew the children who were on episode 11, season 2, and Tim replied that the showrunners were let go. The creator of the show's option wasn't picked up, and the 2 boys were replaced by a younger boy whom they auditioned. Timothy said the parents had a problem with this. Timothy said that in the spring, he got a call from Warner Brothers saying they were investigating a complaint. Timothy said Warner Brothers had an outside investigation through another firm do an investigation. Timothy was told there were complaints about him from the boys. Timothy acknowledged that the boys were involved were SL and VL. Timothy said the investigation began in the spring around April. Timothy told me the lead actress, Elodie Young, said the mother of SL and VL that she wanted revenge, and I'm going to get my revenge on Tim Busfield for not bringing her kids back for the final season. Tim did describe a bedroom setting along with a hospital setting with a bed or a gurney for SL and VL to lie on. This is inconsistent with the setting SL described in his Safe House interview. Timothy advised that he had only directed SL and VL on the Pan American Freeway set in Albuquerque. I did ask Timothy if he had any physical contact with these boys and if he ever picked them up and tickled them. Timothy said it was highly likely that he would have. That's a problem right there. Timothy said it was a playful environment, like he wanted. However, Timothy said that the dad, Ronald, would make SL and VL hug him, and they didn't really want to. Oh, and he didn't really want them to. I did ask Tim what was the protocol for touching children and picking them up and touching them. I mean, I also asked if that was allowed. Timothy initially said, it's not allowed at all. There's no protocol. I mean, I'm always around people, right? It would be, in front of the parents. There would never be a weird moment about it. I don't really remember picking those boys up. I remember picking up the boy who followed them. I'd pick him up and he'd be giggling and that would sort of get him ready to act. Timothy then stated, I don't remember those boys. No, I don't. I don't actually. I don't remember it. If it happened, I don't remember overtly tickling the boys ever, but it wouldn't be uncommon for me. Timothy and his wife, Melissa, did tell me that before this, they did have a relationship with SL and VL and their family outside of work. They advised that they did buy the boys Christmas gifts and were together at several social functions. Elodie Young, on 11/5/2025, I contacted Elodie Young to set up an interview. I did initially advise Elodie that Tim gave me her name and that she may have information. On 11/6/2025, Elodie left me a voicemail declining to speak with me and said she does not want to be involved in the investigation and that she would not have any information that could assist in this case. The voicemail was uploaded to evidence.com. Okay, that's not good for Tim because Tim said, hey, Miss Young, Elodie Young, she can tell you that the mother wants revenge. So there goes that. Taylor advised me that there would be over 100 people working during the production of The Cleaning Lady. Oh, this is Taylor Trujillo, the production assistant. Taylor advised that everyone had their specific job and did not focus on other jobs that were being done by other personnel. In other words, they're too busy. Taylor advised or explained that it was not uncommon for groups of different jobs to be done at different times. She did advise me that she remembered the child actors, especially SL and his parents. Taylor advised that she was familiar with the rules that pertained to child actors and that one of those rules was that the child should have a set teacher who would watch the children and advocate for them during production. Taylor said that she remembered SL's set teacher, Lee, who seemed to lose track of what the child actors were doing. Taylor gave me an example that SL was stopped unsupervised riding a skateboard through a live set at one time. When Lee was asked about this, she did not have an answer for why he was unsupervised. Taylor did tell me that she felt SL's parents weren't from the industry and did not quite understand their rights as parents. Taylor said that the set teacher's job was to help with this and be an advocate for the children. Taylor said she had seen directors alone with child actors when there should have been a parent or set teacher with them. Hold on a second. Taylor told me she noticed that VL and SL did not feel like they wanted to be there anymore. When she first met them, they were like very happy, bubbly children. And towards the end of season 2, around the time that Mr. Busfield came in, and all of season 3, especially SL, started acting difficult and were not happy. Maybe that's why you got rid of them. When I asked about touching actors or children while they were not being filmed or scripted, if touching them was allowed, Taylor said that was not allowed, and it was very unprofessional for anyone to touch or tickle anyone. Taylor remembered Timothy being very touchy with certain people and felt that it was unprofessional. On 11/14, I talked to Lauren Trujillo, who was a production assistant. These are the production assistants. Saying these kids weren't watched, they were alone with him, anything could have happened. That's what it sounds like to me too, Bossy, that they were picking up on his bullshit and got rid of him. So here's the other production assistant. Lauren was familiar with an investigation involving SL and VL and Tim and advised me she never saw anything that would require her to report something to the police, but that she did see abnormal behavior on the set. Lauren advised that she remembered the room the two boys were filming in and that she did see Timothy in the room with SL and VL. Lauren advised that she doesn't remember if they were alone, but advised it could have been possible due to the set teacher always hanging out in the first team holding area where there were no monitors, and she would lose sight of the children. Lauren told me that that shouldn't happen. That's why they have set teachers. They're supposed to keep an eye on that, but it's absolutely possible. Lauren advised that Lee was an older lady and she didn't keep a super close eye on the kids. He probably loved that, huh? Lauren explained there were a couple times they'd be running around and almost get hit by other crew members carrying stuff or crew members trying to dodge out of the way of the kids. Lauren explained that a set teacher should always be monitoring the children before, after, and during production. Set teachers should be by the monitors, watching the children when they're physically separated from the parents. Lauren said that Lee would not do this, and this could have allowed Timothy to be alone with the children in the room during production. Lauren said that it was frequent that Lee would always be hanging out with first team. Lauren remembered the words towards the end of season 2 and season 3. SL became pretty withdrawn. SL did not seem like he wanted to act. Didn't seem like he wanted to be here. They ended up using VL a lot more because he was happier to do the scenes and wanted to be there. And SL just kind of withdrew. On 11/21/2025, I contacted Lee Lewin to set up an interview. I did talk to Lee on the phone. This is the babysitter lady, Lee Lewin. I wonder what she looks like. I wonder if we can find her. Lee Lewin. She runs the Santa Fe Girls School. Lee Lewin. Santa Fe Girls School. She was a public school teacher. Here she is. Studio teacher certification. Lewin Lee. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah, I can't find her. If anybody finds her, let me know. Okay, so they did talk to Lee on the phone, who said she was the studio teacher for SL and VL, which involves educating kids who are working on set and being responsible for their health, safety, and welfare. Lee told me that she would sometimes monitor SL and VL while on set if they were working in a dangerous situation or a situation where she felt there was risk. Lee did say she would hang out by the first team where there were no monitors during filming. I did ask Lee if there was something that stuck out with SL and VL during her time with them. Lee said SL became very reluctant to be on set, which he wasn't in the beginning. Lee said SL was very enthusiastic, and then at a certain point, he just didn't want to be on set. She said that whether they were in the schoolroom or at the table right behind the set, he would just have his head down. Lee did not understand why SL did not want to go to the set, but he was pretty clear he didn't want to do it. Lee said that was a big change. After talking with Lauren, Taylor, and Lee, I believe Tim had the opportunity to be alone with SL while he was laying on the bed on the TV set. Learning that the set teacher would frequently lose sight of the children by hanging out in first teams, there were no mentions of monitors. Timothy was left alone and not watched during this time. Now, the Warner Brothers search warrant. On October 3rd, 2025, I wrote a search warrant for Warner Brothers, requesting access to production records and materials related to an independent investigation. Would you trust an independent investigation with Warner Brothers? I wouldn't. So Warner Brothers did this investigation of their own on Timothy and determined there was no signs of anything nefarious. Okay, so then they talked to Richard Wessling, who identified himself as an attorney for Warner Brothers. They talked to him. He said, we have a search warrant involving Timothy Busfield. And Richard was familiar with the investigation, told me he'd locate it, contact Warner Brothers, and see how they could help. So the next day, Richard emailed advising he had spoken with Warner Brothers, and they had authorized him to accept the search warrant and asked me to email the search warrant so they can review the warrant and respond. On the 17th, they emailed it, Okay, so then after they got the search warrant, they got an email from Richard Wessling, the lawyer. Detective Brown, my apologies. I got your call earlier this week, but needed to check with Warner Brothers before getting back to you. First, I did receive the warrant and have reviewed it with my client. Second, as I mentioned previously, the investigation was conducted under attorney-client privilege. Warner Brothers is working through the process of deciding whether to waive privilege and provide you with a copy of the report. I will have an answer next week and let you know as soon as I know more. Wow. Okay, so then he replies again in December. So that was 11/21. Now it's December 18th. I received another email from Richard Wessling. I hope my email, Detective Brown, I hope my email finds you well. My client has continued its internal process of evaluating whether to share the investigation report in response to the search warrant, despite the privileged nature of the report. I would like to speak with you about our current thinking when you have some availability. Let me know if you have time for a call tomorrow or early next week. On 12/31/2025, I received the independent investigation. I did review the investigation prepared by Christina McGovern, who works at Solomon Law. This document was prepared on March 31st, 2025. On or about February 17th, 25, an anonymous complaint came through the SAG-AFTRA hotline about an incident that allegedly occurred on the cleaning lady in December 16th, 2024. According to the anonymous complaint, who claimed to have witnessed the incident in the hair and makeup trailer, executive producer director Tim Busfield entered and kissed a minor male on the face as the minor was getting a haircut. The anonymous complaint further alleged that there are pictures of Mr. Busfield tickling and caressing the head and body of minor boys. That's why he couldn't deny it when he finally spoke with law enforcement. Elodie Young did speak with Christian and stated she was shocked when Mrs. Rodas said to her and her husband that she did not like what her son's being terminated, brought out of her, but that she would get her revenge against Tim Busfield, end quote. Christina McGovern was not able to talk with anyone who would support evidence that Timothy Busfield engaged in this behavior. After reading the independent, isn't that funny? Warner Brothers came out and said, oh, this lady said this about him, right? This, what's her name? Elodie Young. And then when Elodie Young was questioned by the police, she's like, nope, I ain't got nothing to say. So she didn't stand down on it. So after reading the independent investigation, I wanted to contact other child actors to ensure their safety. While attempting to find contact information on the actors, I received another email from Richard Wessling. Detective Brown, I learned today that you reached out to Barry Haley, who is employed by my client. As I think we discussed previously, we represent the company and its employees. I would ask, to the extent you need to contact any employees in the future, that you reach out to our firm as their counsel. Please let me know if you have any issues with our request. So there's Warner Brothers, like. Danielle Vigil on 12/31/2025. I contacted Danielle Vigil, who was working on set with Tim Busfield doing hair and makeup. Danielle told me she had been contacted by attorneys prior to my calling. So literally, Warner Brothers' lawyer reached out to her before the cops called. Danielle told me that while she was working with two child actors who replaced the twins, she witnessed Timothy come into the trailer where she was working and kiss the two child actors on their foreheads. So she was the anonymous reporter. Danielle did say that both the parents were present at the time, but felt the parents did not know the rules and etiquette. So it made Danielle feel icky. I asked Danielle if it was normal for this conduct to occur. She said it usually was not, and that a designated set teacher should be with the children for their safety. Danielle advised that the children were often left unsupervised by the designated set teacher. This is where it gets weird. Danielle said that everyone knew to avoid Timothy because he was creepy. Danielle was very afraid of retaliation for talking to me and was afraid she would no longer be able to work in the film industry. Kristen Carr. On 12/31, I contacted Kristen Carr, who worked as hair and makeup. When I spoke with Kristen, she seemed hesitant to talk to me. Kristen did not share or act as if she had any knowledge of any inappropriate behavior. Warner Brothers made it very difficult to obtain information for this case and waited almost 3 months to comply with a court order to produce the independent investigation. Assholes. Warner Brothers used attorney Richard Wessling to advise me that I would need to go through his law firm to talk with any employees of Warner Brothers when I was trying to ensure the safety of additional child actors. So literally, Warner Brothers cock-blocked the police from contacting any other child actors to warn them. When talking with employees of Warner Brothers, they were very afraid of retaliation from Warner Brothers if they talked to me. Conclusion. In my training and experience, pedophiles often infiltrate families under a trusted role, like Timothy, who, as a producer, exploited the hectic film sets to tickle and touch SL on his pee and buttocks, masking it as play. He would invite the family to offset gatherings, with his wife buying Christmas gifts to foster closeness, making SL feel special and dependent. Classic grooming to erode boundaries, isolate the victim, and silence suspicions by blending abuse into normalcy. This dual tactic, charming parents while secretly violating the child, builds a web of complicity that is hard to unravel, delaying detection as families trust the abuser's facade. I discovered that Tim Busfield has faced accusations of SA with 2 separate incidents reported in the media, one in the 90s and one around 2012. The first allegation occurred in 1994. A 17-year-old extra on Little Big League sued in LA Superior Court, claiming Busfield assaulted her, served her alcohol, groped her, and attempted sex in a trailer. Denied by Busfield, who countersued for extortion. Parties settled privately. His later defamation bid against her lawyers got tossed, leaving him to foot nearly $150,000 in costs. No charges filed. Second allegation occurred on 3/18/2012. A 28-year-old woman accused Busfield of battery in an LA movie theater, alleging he slipped hands under her clothes, touched genitals for 4 minutes. Police took report under Code 243.4, but prosecutors passed due to slim evidence. He called it consensual. No arrest, no lawsuit, file closed. SL has been in therapy and has issues with bedwetting along with other behavior issues. SL was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. Yolanda Yeoman documented SL disclosing nightmares about the director touching him and waking up scared. SL also disclosed the director had rubbed and touched him 3 to 4 times and appeared to be ashamed. During SL's Safe House interview, SL said Tim touched the poopy area. After the sets were over, SL was scared, ran to his dad. SL said the second time he was 8, and it was the same areas. I don't want to keep reading that. SL said he was afraid to tell anyone because Tim was the director and feared Tim would get mad at him. And this is sworn on the 9th day of January, 2026. Sick. I have no words. Fuck Warner Brothers, too. They should not be able to block anyone. Yeah, called it consensual. What's he doing sitting in a theater with a 24-year-old? Like, I wish we had more details on that because that's weird. All right, so moving on, we have a lot more to go over before the hearing at 4 o'clock. We have this state's expedited motion for pretrial detention. So I'm just going to come down here. It comes down. This is filed by the state. And this is an order. They want to keep him behind bars, basically. He is charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual contact. 2 counts of criminal sexual contact and abuse of a child arising from his conduct towards a child actor while the defendant occupied a position of authority and trust as the director and executive producer on a TV series. We've already read all this. So down here it says, in the nature and seriousness of the danger posed by defendant's release, the defendant poses an ongoing and serious danger to children and the community. His conduct reflects a calculated pattern of grooming, lack of boundaries, and exploitation of professional authority to gain access to minors. The defendant has demonstrated willingness to exploit positions of trust, ability to offend in professional environments designed to appear safe, minimization and denial of conduct, access to children through his profession, and a pattern of inappropriate conduct spanning decades. Witnesses in this investigation expressed fear for retaliation. And then they go on. This is a lot of repetitive stuff, but this is just saying basically transfer this over to court and make him stay with no bond. But we will find out today. Is this his? Okay, so he is 5'10", 180, born in 1957. Is this his address in Albuquerque? Let's look. That's his house? No way. You think that's his house right there? Must be. Look at, there's the big van with the production stuff. That's his home in Albuquerque. I guess I would have thought it would have been a lot nicer than that. Okay. Okay. So then let's see what else is in here. The criminal complaint, which we read. I think that's pretty much it. We can get into breaking him down with some clips and stuff. Oh, let's see what this stuff is. This says. Criminal sexual contact of a minor child under 13, 2 counts, 1 count of child abuse. Oh, here's his rap sheet. Here's his booking sheet. Assessment type, intake strip search. I hope you enjoyed that, Timothy. He's being held in the Bernalillo. Okay, we're caught up on that. Let's move over to the next thing. So there was another filing, and we're just going to kind of briefly go over this from this article. Oh my God, does that Texas Roadhouse look good or what? So we're going to go over this article here really quick. Okay, so he's responding to why he shouldn't, be held without bond. In the filings intended to prove Busfield is no threat to society as prosecutors fight to keep him behind bars, the actor reaffirmed he's a lifelong heterosexual who has a healthy sex life with his wife, reported TMZ. Yet again, we got the cleanup from TMZ. Busfield revealed he occasionally masturbates in the shower, but claimed he hasn't done so in about 6 months. Erna Leo, thank you. He expressed his disgust for pornography, which he said he's, quote, never found to be sexually satisfying, end quote, and to which he's, quote, always had a visceral response. Gilbert appeared to support the latter statement, saying porn has never been part of their sexual relationship, nor have there ever been any concerns related to her husband's use of explicit material. The intimate information included in the documents is said to have been related to a psychosexual eval Busfield underwent this week. Can you imagine if John Matthias was giving Busfield a psychosexual eval? He'd be like, oh, you're good to go. Send him home. I hope they keep him in, too. It's starting at 4 p.m. Eastern. We got about an hour. So I'll keep you guys. I got a lot of content to go over, so we're going to be right on the mark. The intimate information included in the dockets is said to be related to this eval. He and his defense are attempting to argue the findings are reason enough for him to be released from jail. I think that's about it in here. Oh, here. No. In the opposing state's motion for pretrial detention, Busfield's defense team submitted 75 letters expressing support from friends, coworkers, and family members, including Gilbert, who he married in 2013, writing about her being the rock and partner in business and life. She said, he has the strongest moral compass of any human that she has ever known. That's Melissa Gilbert. He has dedicated his spiritual self to always being of service to others. He starts every day with kindness and compassion. She went on to write a letter to the judge, Melissa Gilbert. In a new filing she submitted, her letter identified herself as Busfield's wife, explaining they briefly met in the 80s. They briefly met in the 80s while falling in love in 2012. She wrote, now I want you to remember these dates, like 2012, because we're going to watch some clips. They got married in 2013? She wrote, the reality is that Tim Busfield is my love, my rock, my partner in business and life. He is my comfort, my counsel. His joy, humor, and quick wit bring sparkle to my life. Tim is quite simply the beating heart of our wild and wonderful extended family. I can tell you and anyone that I know Tim better and more intimately than anyone in his life ever has. Conversely, he knows me in the same way. She continued, Tim has the strongest moral compass of any human I've ever known. He has dedicated his spiritual self to always being service of others. He starts every day with kindness and compassion. Every single set where Tim is working. People say he's their favorite director ever. Actually, people say that to me in restaurants, on red carpets, and in grocery stores too. His former students tell me he was their favorite teacher ever. I cannot tell you how it has warmed my heart over and over again to hear people from so many different walks of life tell me that they encountered my husband in some way and he's their favorite. He is my favorite. She said, one of the greatest joys in my life has been watching Busfield interact with her youngest son, Michael. Michael was a teenager when Tim and I got together, a full-blown angst-ridden teenager trying to figure out his place in the world. Tim nurtured and guided Michael. He admonished, praised, loved, consoled, cajoled, fretted, cared for, and fed my son both physically and spiritually. I will never be able to express the depth of gratitude I have for God for bringing this wonderful human in our lives. She went on to say that Busfield's former military training enhanced him for what he values most: honor, integrity, compassion, and care for his fellow human beings. Tim also applies those principles to orders. If he's told to do something, he does it with honor, integrity, compassion, and care. As she concludes, this is the strangest letter I've ever had to write. I am trying to toe a line between logic and all the feelings swirling through me. I began this letter with logic, but now the feelings have taken over. I can't help it. I only want this extraordinary man safe and whole. He is my So I will close by asking you to please, please take care of my sweet husband, as he is my protector and I am his. But I cannot protect him now. And I think more than anything else, what is truly breaking my heart, I am relying on you, your protection of him for me. First, we're going to hear the father of the alleged victim from the 90s speak out after Busfield has been charged. He's going to tell you about his daughter that he settled with Busfield. Take a listen to this clip.
Released court documents, we've learned that a father contacted authorities in New Mexico yesterday claiming Busfield sexually abused his daughter while she auditioned at Midtown's B Street Theater, which Busfield co-founded here in Sacramento.
All right, so I also want you to keep the B Street Theater in the back of your mind as well, because that's what Buck Busfield runs now. Buck Busfield runs the B Street Theater in Sacramento. Now, Timothy Busfield was banned there for inappropriate behavior.
The father says that his daughter was 16 years old at the time, and the father says that Busfield asked the family to not report him if he went to therapy. And the father, a therapist himself, said he agreed.
KCRA3 Cecil Hannibal joins us live in the newsroom. So, Cecil, you spoke with that father. I'm sure this whole thing has been difficult for the family. What did he tell you? What have you learned?
Well, the father named in the complaint tells me he spoke to a detective just yesterday. We had a nearly 30-minute conversation with him, and we are not naming him to protect the identity of the alleged victim, who we have not been able to speak with directly. But he tells us this goes back to 1999, an incident that he says changed the trajectory of his daughter's life.
Okay, yesterday I got a text from someone with a link to this story, and I clicked on it, and
For the defendant at B Street Theater, the 16-year-old reported that defendant kissed her and put his hands down her pants and touched her privates. The defendant begged the family to not report to law enforcement if he received therapy. The father, who is a therapist, recalls that meeting with Busfield.
Obviously, you know, this guy's crying, he's showing remorse, he's apologizing, he promises never to do anything, da-da-da-da-da-da. And so I said, basically, I'll tell you what. You know, he's basically begging me not to go to the police.
Do you regret not going to the police?
Now? Yes, absolutely. Are you kidding after reading what I read yesterday? Absolutely.
In a statement to KCRA3, B Street Theater said in part, B Street Theater is aware of a report concerning Timothy Busfield regarding an incident alleged to have occurred at B Street Theater 25 years ago. It goes on to say, B Street Theater retained legal counsel at the time to conduct an internal investigation, and Mr. Busfield has not had any role in the organization since 2001. The father tells KCRA3.
It's very hard because I feel really guilty about this. Because
okay, keep that in mind. Since 2001, he hasn't been able to go and work at the B Street Theater. If you can you hear me talking? If you cannot hear, leave and come back. Can you give me a 5x5? Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, good. You're back. Oh, wait to see what Tim says about child actors being damaged. Are we good? Okay, we're good. Loud and clear, says Sweet Daddy. I'm sorry, YouTube is funky. But keep in mind, I want you to keep that in your mind, that in 2001, he was no longer allowed. He was no longer allowed, I'll turn the clip down a little bit, to work at the B Street Theater, which he helped co-found with his brother Buck.
as a therapist, I think I did the right thing. As a father, I did not.
Now, a lot still...
No, as a therapist, you didn't do the right thing either, dude. The dad is a therapist, and he thinks he did the right thing by, you know, settling, if you will. Listen to that again.
Very hard because I feel really guilty.
25 years ago. It goes on to say, B Street Theater retained legal counsel at the time to conduct an internal investigation, and Mr. Busfield has not had any role in the organization since 2001. The father tells KCRA3.
It's very hard because I feel really guilty about this. Because as a therapist, I think I did the right thing. As a father, I did not.
That's wild.
Now, a lot still left to uncover with this story, so here is who we're still waiting to speak with. We've contacted the alleged victim, but have not been able to speak with her directly yet. We also contacted Buck Busfield, Timothy's brother, who is the co-founder of B Street Theater. We received a statement from B Street Theater, but we are still trying to speak with the board members directly. In the newsroom, Cecil Hannibal, KCRA3 News.
There's a very interesting update.
Can you believe that? The B Street, keep the B Street in the back of your mind. Okay, here's another one. Here's another article from WGN. So Timothy Busfield is getting some backlash. Look at this. He not only was he taken out of the Law and Order that was on last week. On January 12th, NBC decided to cancel an episode of Law and Order SVU in which Busfield guest starred. Insert laughing emoji here. I love this for him. I love it. His talent agency dropped his ass. Yes, Timothy Busfield probably paid them off and said he would go to counseling. But now, Timothy will be edited out of the upcoming Amazon MGM rom-com, You Deserve Each Other. He's going to be edited out. I wish I had Trisha's clip. Edited out by his talent has also dropped him. He was top billed in the You Deserve Each Other, starring Megan Fahey and Penn Badgley. Busfield was set to play Bernie, the father of Faye's character Naomi. Ha ha. Bye, bitch. Okay, next thing is going to be from the Daily Mail. This is where the B Street Theater comes back into play. West Wing actor Timothy Busfield was banned from a California theater more than 2 decades ago. We just heard about that. And this was also included in his pretrial detention, that they're saying, you know, we want to keep him behind bars. So the victim claimed that during an audition at B Street Theater 25 years ago, the actor kissed and put his hands down her pants, touched her privates. After the alleged assault, Busfield's wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, begged the family not to report to law enforcement if he received therapy. Shame on her. Shame on her. So here he is back in the day with his brother Buck. This is Buck. Now I'm going to show you a couple videos. This is B Street 13 years ago. This would have been in 2012. I couldn't even get through watching these knowing this is how B Street is and knowing that he was there. I think a 16-year-old is probably, I don't know, maybe the least of the worries. This is just going to give you a background into B Street. Here we go.
Everyone knows about the B Street Theaters, this edgy new works theater company that does plays primarily for adults. You can come here and watch a comedy or a drama. But what many people don't know is that our corporate name is Theater for Children, Inc. The new theater we're building.
Our corporate name is Theater for Children, Inc. Focus on children.
On Capitol Avenue is really all about serving more kids and serving them better. We have 3 very important programs for kids. We have our school tour. We do 12 shows a week for local schools, 37 weeks a year.
We are able to reach 200,000 kids with that program. We travel throughout 12 counties. We go into a lot of schools, but we can also take that traveling troupe and go to places like children's hospitals. We can go to homeless shelters, places like that where there are kids in need. We've been to the Mind Institute. We've been to Cottage House.
Where there's kids in need. I don't like it.
Housing, to the receiving home.
Hey,
We've been
Judy.
to St. John's Shelter.
We also have our family series here at the B Street Theater where the entire family can come here and see a show on the weekend. On the weekdays, we'll have field trips. The programming for the family series, what we try to do is find out what the kids are reading in grade school and junior high and high school. Go right to the reading list and do adaptations of those books.
The arts teach creativity. They unleash imagination, and all of that gives kids self-esteem. It makes them want to learn. It makes them want to be better readers. It makes them want to study. As the arts are continuously cut back and cut back and cut back, those schools...
They want to groom these kids is what they want to do. They want to find the most damaged kids. Because in Tim Busfield's words, the more damaged the person, the more damaged the child, the better the actor. And I have a clip of that coming out of his mouth. This is serious.
Schools have had to lean more on nonprofit organizations.
We're turning away thousands of school kids each year who can't get in because the space is too small. So we're moving to a larger facility on Capitol Avenue, and we're going to grow the seat count from 100 seats to 365.
The new building will have some dedicated spaces for the training of young people in the arts. And
Look at these little groups they have these children in.
particular theater and theater production. And right now we can only offer those programs on very limited basis because of space. And in our new building, those programs are going to be able to grow tremendously.
And we won't ever have to turn away a school kid in the region again.
We'll never have to turn away a kid in the school region again.
We're going to require a fair amount of community fundraising to get this building done. Now, why does somebody want to give to that? It's about kids and education and the future of education. It's also about the community life of Sacramento.
Look at these kids. I mean, there's kids with Down syndrome sitting here. They're targeting the most vulnerable.
And the future of education. It's also about...
See? Who's this guy?
The community life of Sacramento.
See? I don't like it.
We want Sacramento to be the best place to raise a family and move a company and have a job. Not an adequate place, but the best place it can be. And we're asking people to make that investment here at B Street to make our community the very best place it can possibly be. We deserve it. Sacramento is a great community, and we deserve to have this kind of amenity.
Okay, I have one more from the B Street. Now watch this. Watch how the men interact with the children in this one.
To imagine, to use your imagination. That's what's powerful about theater. Today, here we are on the gym floor, but we're going to pretend that we are animals in the forest climbing up the side of a mountain, and then we're going to pretend that we are ancient Greeks on a field having a contest. And the audience...
This is Buck Busfield right here. This is Tim's brother.
...will believe us because our imaginations are powerful. What's ground rule number 3? Yes, sir? Cooperate. What does that mean? Work together. Help each other. Who can tell me what the golden rule is? Yes, ma'am? Treat people how you want to be treated. You guys have done a fantastic job of that. And what's our final ground rule? Yes?
It's participate.
What does that mean?
Participate in it.
To be in it. To join in, to try, to do your best. Everybody in this class has done a fantastic job. I'm really proud of the work we've done, and today's the day that we get to have fun doing it.
This is what I found inappropriate right here. Watch. Yeah, like this guy's pinning tails on these little kids and dressing them. I mean, I couldn't even watch this whole thing. I couldn't even watch it. These kids are perfectly old enough to put their own necklaces on. He doesn't have to be doing this. He doesn't have to be doing this. They're plenty old enough to put t-shirts on. I don't like it. And you know what creeps like can do? They can have something like this and tell parents like, "Oh, your son or your daughter is going to be is such a good actor or actress, like let us work with them one-on-one." Oh yeah, it's open. Mhm. Tim's banned from it though since 2020 or since 2001.
Squirrel. summer they dance in fields of wild flowers.
But his brother owns and runs it. He's banned.
This might be kind of new, so what do you think I'm expecting from you? Try your best. What do you think you do? Squirrel, catch!
In the long ago time, human beings were new in the world.
I don't know, YouTube.
Catch him. They grabbed Coyote's tail. Coyote flung the fire as far as he could.
Squirrel, catch! The fire hurt so badly that her tail...
Yeah, banned because of accusations of inappropriate behavior.
When the fire
I
being
think
solved,
that was.
they could not.
I don't know if he had a wife then. I think he got divorced early in his career.
Get the fire out of wood. Frog pulled until his eyes bulged and his tail.
Okay, enough of that. I'm gonna let you meet actually Buck Busfield. Here you go. We got about 40 minutes until the hearing. Am I buffering a lot? It seems like I'm buffering on my computer. I bet they didn't tell the parents about him being banned or why he wasn't there. Well, that's when we get into his clips. Seems like he was there. Let's listen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Buck Busfield, the artistic director at the B Street Theater here at the Sophia Sokopolis Center for the Arts. And we have a rare treat for you on November 16th, the first ever Sophia Soiree. It's a fundraiser for the B Street Theater's outreach and education programs in all the schools in the region. It's going to be a one-of-its-kind fundraiser. We're going to build for you in one night an entire play on the spot that we've never done before, with lights, with scenery, with costumes, and something called acting. You'll have a great time. Please come to the Sophia Soiree, November 16th. See you then.
Your daughter was there, Sneaky Suspicion? No way. How long ago? Walila, I agree. And I would not feel comfortable with that either. Theater, I'm not against theater for kids, but when it's run by all these creepy men that have creepy connections, yikes. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the clip video I made while we wait for the hearing to see if this
where you can,
dude's going to get out. But I put this together. I just want you guys to know, I stayed up all night one night almost, and I watched so many boring ass podcasts with this guy. He is so boring, and his voice is so obnoxious. So I put together, this is about 19 minutes of clips. We're going to watch this, and we're going to note the years and stop and pause and talk about it. So here we go.
I was directing children's theater in Vermont, and I look up and towards the audience, and I see the teachers are going like this, and I turn, and the guy I've left in the bathroom is walking back to where he was, but his pants are still around his ankles. And he's walking, and I can't think of anything to do but to bark at him. So I start, and he's running, and the thing's just flopping, and he's running back to his seat.
Tim, the transition from adult actors to child actors, one of the things that really excites me about what you do is you invest your time, and as does your wife, into child actors. And right now during the pandemic, you guys came up with a rather cool idea to do these virtual acting classes for youth that are, I think, not just in your neighborhood, but across the country, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, not so much across the look. I would love for it to be across the country. It would be more for inspiration.
Okay.
And Melissa isn't as involved. I right now with this, she's got a book she's writing, and
Okay.
that Simon & Schuster came to her for, and she's got another sold a pilot, and she will help out with my teaching. I always recruit her to come in.
Sure.
So he makes it clear that she's not, really involved in his teaching of these children theaters. Okay. Mind you, he gets booted from his own brother's theater, but he goes on to go to Virginia, Kentucky, all these states, and visit all these schools.
But I have gone to my local school district up here, and I said, hey, I will be happy to work with your guys. And I gave them a 11-week curriculum that ends in a zoovie, that basically ends in a we're making a zoovie. You will perform. We're going to start bridging theater and film right now.
Yeah.
You're going to do this here. We're going to do monologues, and we're going to focus on the audition process. So I have an 11-week curriculum that was approved by the superintendent at the Eldred Unified School District. And we'll go Monday night for an hour, probably, with the technical end, all the designers, and how are we going to make it look? What kind of backdrops can we offer these kids? What are they going to wear when we do the final scenes? And talk to them and introduce them to directors of photography and other assistant directors and costume designers, and bring them in as guests. And then on the weekend after school, I'll probably spend 2.5 hours with, 30 or 40 kids, going over scenes and monologues and doing it, not lecturing, not yammering about it like I'm doing right now, but actually, let's see that monologue. Let's do it again, a little slower.
Hear this? You get booted from a theater. Now you're spending time with 30 kids. What's up, Sherry Rollins?
Your time.
Yeah.
What's the key moment in the scene? How do you frame that moment? How do you connect the basic? And and I started a company in Tennessee when I was in college back in the 70s, and
there we go. He's in Tennessee. We're gonna hear about Virginia, Kentucky.
we went under.
Hey, Jenny.
After 50 performances, and it crushed me because the kids in Appalachia, where I went to college, they had never seen anything like it. You knew how important it was, what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I got Trapper John MD, I said, I can start my children's theater now. And I gave an out-of-work actor $50. And I said, research Columbia, South Carolina, and Sacramento, California. I need to be an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. So he's going to be in both places, Columbia, South Carolina, and Sacramento.
From LA or New York. And I need to be where I can afford to pay the actors, and the rents are low. And there can't be any other professional full-time theater there. Because my theory was, if you feed the guppies, if the kids grow up seeing it, then as adults, they'll become attached to it and they'll come back. Now,
feed the guppies. This becomes a saying of his. If you feed the guppies, they'll get attached.
It worked. Feed the guppies, then let them grow on you. They'll become attached, and the community will become attached because you're taking care of the youth.
Yeah.
And that really helped a lot.
Cage you today because we have one more question that I think you're really going to like.
Now, this interview was in 2019. He was booted from his brother's theater in 2001. And he continued to go on and infiltrate these schools. And now, oh my God, this podcast was like an hour and a half long. Casting Calls America with this Ricky Borba guy. Okay. Now, this is the final question for Tim of the day. And this guy's like, oh, you're really going to like this one.
So I don't have any more, but we're going to go to this one last question for you.
Hi, my name is Emma Henderson. I'm an actor with Faith-Based Casting. My question is, how old were you when you started acting?
Thank you for asking me that question. You're so sweet. I was practicing the skills of an actor at 6 and 7. I was doing voices. I was doing characters. I was imitating movie stars. I was learning the theme songs to the TV shows. I walked differently. I would watch how people walked. I would watch how people talked. Those are the attributes. Those learning from that gave me the attributes to grow as an actor. It's very difficult for child actors to become adult actors often because we're so short with you in our process. We say, look up, look down, say it like this, say it like that. But we wouldn't talk to adult actors like that because we know to get the best performance out of them that we can't direct them that way. So we often take advantage of the younger actor.
You sure do.
And tell them how to do things. And in that little bit of lack of respect, we might limit them from being the better actor they could be. So if your mom is telling you how to say something, it's okay to say, Mom, I got this.
Yeah.
And fundamentals, when you go to
if your mom's telling you something, it's okay to say, Mom, I've got this. Fuck you, dude. Don't be telling people to override their parents. I can't stand this dude.
Limit them from being the better actor
And he looks like an alcoholic.
they could be. So if your mom is telling you how to say something, it's okay to say, Mom, I got this.
Yeah.
And fundamentals, when you go to an audition, Emma, just listen. Listen, connect, and react. You don't have to talk loud. Listen. Listen to what the other person's saying. It's not about how you're saying what you're saying. It's more about what you're saying and listening. Listen and talk. Listen and talk.
Tim, I have really enjoyed listening to you tonight. We went 75 minutes. Thanks so much, Brian. Thank you for everybody for watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Listen how Tim says goodbye now.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.
Bye, Emma.
Creepy. He couldn't just say goodbye to the host. He had to make sure he said goodbye to that little girl who asked that question at the end. Ick.
Watching, and we'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Ricky.
Yep.
Bye, Emma.
I'm going to ask your students to sum you up in one word.
All right. So this is another clip. I'm going to ask your students to sum you up in one word.
Everybody but Torres. Okay, okay.
Who's Torres?
Which one's Torres? All right, we're going to ask Torres. What's a word?
What's a word?
This is 2016. They've asked the students to sum Tim up in one word. Here we go.
He's okay.
He's okay. That was 2 words.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Poindexter.
Poindexter. Hello.
Fun.
Oh, fun. I've got this.
Connection.
Connection. Yeah, you're there. Yeah.
Crazy. Weird.
Weird.
Large.
Large.
Shady.
Shady. I
I
totally agree.
Absent.
Absent.
Crazy.
Field.
Field.
Oh.
Dreams.
Yeah, go next. Dreams.
Dreams.
So I already say fun.
Fun is good.
Unique.
Unique. I'll give you that.
Colorful.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's colorful.
Tim. Oh
That's
wait,
Torres.
Tim's the man.
Tim's the man. Torres.
I can't say.
You can't say. Yes, you can. This is the web. You can say anything.
Indescribable.
Ah, that's good. How about you?
I already said it.
Oh, you said it.
I already said it.
Oh, you said it. You're all done. What do you say about them? One word.
I love every one of them except Torres. I told you.
Choice between my mom said you can go to Mystic Lake and canoeing, and I'd done it once and said I'm good. The mosquitoes are horrible. Or you can go to Mickey Owen Baseball School, which is a place I'd found. So I would spend my summers at a baseball school in Missouri, and I became a counselor. So I would play sometimes 75, 100 games over the summer because I would play with the counselors in the 17, 18.
He was a camp counselor at baseball camp.
Year-olds, and even if I was
In
15,
Missouri.
16, then I would play with that age group, and then I would umpire Little League, and I'd run the batting cage, and I had such great instruction that I really was taught how to act like a baseball player. I couldn't actually play the game. Is where you can, I was directing children's theater in Vermont, and I didn't know how to play the harmonica, but I was.
So now we're in Vermont directing children's theater. Remind you that he got booted from his brother's theater in 2001 for inappropriate behavior. But here we're going to hear about Virginia. This is the disturbing story. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. I mean, I don't usually give trigger warnings, but yeah.
I was directing children's theater in Vermont, and I didn't know how to play the harmonica, but I was directing Tom Sawyer and a Huck Finn piece, and I played the harmonica. I could get away with that, and we played a school that were for the mentally handicapped, and
he could get away with it. He's such a dick. He could get away with it not knowing how to play the harmonica, but playing the harmonica because they didn't know any better.
They were, growing. It was a sea of movement and a sea of groaning, and I'm like this. I went back there for a second season because
a sea of groaning is how he describes. Look at this guy's face. He's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Now he's going back a second year for the sea of groaning.
I was in love with children's theater and that audience, and I went back there for a second season because I was in love with children's theater and that audience, and we went back to that school, and I thought, we're going to sing it this time. We're going to make this as much music, because whenever there's music, the crowd responds. It sedates the crowd. Well, we were doing a play called the Bremerton Musicians, and I'm playing a dog in the Bremerton Musicians. And it's unruly. It's just a sea of noise and movement. The teacher's trying to calm kids, and a kid comes walking right past stage. Not a kid, he was probably 40, but he looks like he's grown like 40, but he's comes off like a kid. And he's going. We've put our set up in front of the bathroom in this gym. So I'm going off stage for a minute. I see him going. I go to help him out. The teacher is like, "Well, is there?" And I said, "I got him. I'm going off stage." So I think I'm gonna do this guy a favor. And he gets there and he gets to the toilet, and I can hear the play going on. And he undoes his pants and he goes to the bathroom, and the pants sort of drop, and he's going to the bathroom, and I can hear my entrance coming up. So I gotta go. So I go out and I come sliding in as the dog. We're gonna go to whatever the dog thing is. And then I hear a gasp, and I look up and towards the audience, and I see the teachers are going like this. And I turn, and the guy I've left in the bathroom is walking back to where he was, but his pants are still around his ankles. And he's walking, and I can't think of anything to do but to bark at him. So I start, and then he's running, and the thing's just flopping, and he's running back to his seat. And I chased him back to his seat, and then I came hobbling back in. There was a moment the actors were gone, the teachers were all gone. Everybody was, the kid. Everybody was gone. He's laughing. They got him all suited up. He felt like he had an experience. It was, he felt like he had an experience. He was a 40-year-old disabled man. And he says to the teacher, "I'll help him. I got him." Guy comes out of the bathroom with his pants around his ankles. Probably fucking scared about what happened to him, possibly. Allegedly. We would take those risks, those experiences. You can't really do it. What is he talking about? Risks? And you're thinking, I've got to get an agent, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. It's really hard to have the comfort to take risks when the stakes are so high. My feeling was, if you feel... Now, what does that have to do with what the story he just told? I mean, he's telling on himself, in my opinion. And if we go back to this, where he says, "Oh, this kid comes walking past the stage." Not a kid. He's grown like 40, but he comes off as a kid. And he's going. We've put our set up in front of the bathroom in this gym. So I'm going off stage for a minute. I see him going. I go to help him out. I go to help him out. Teacher is like, "Well, is there?" And I said, "I got." The teacher's like, "Well, is there?" And he's like, "I'm going off stage." I got him. I'll go off stage and help him. So I think I'm going to do this guy a favor. And he gets there, and he gets to the toilet, and I can hear the play going on. And he undoes his pants, and he goes to the bathroom, and the pants sort of drop, and he's going to the bathroom, and I can hear my entrance. Sounds like a total cover story coming up. So I gotta go. So I go out, and I come sliding. And this guy's probably wondering, like, why did you even tell this story? Because again, this was a long podcast. And as the dog, we're going to go to whatever the dog thing is. And then I hear a gasp, and I look up and towards the audience, and I see the teachers are going like this. And I turn, and the guy I've left in the bathroom is walking back to where he was, but his pants are still around his ankles. And he's walking, and I can't think of anything to do but to bark at him. So I start, and then he's running, and the thing's just flopping, and he's running back to his seat. And I chased him back to his seat, and then I came hobbling back in. There was a moment the actors were gone, the teachers were all gone. Everybody was, the kid is laughing. They got him all suited up. He felt like he had an experience. It was, we would chased him back to his seat with it flopping. They do, Eddie. They always tell on themselves. I hate them more than I hate anything in this world, is people that take advantage. Oh, God, he's sick. Take those risks, those experiences. You can't really do when you're thinking, I've got to get an agent, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. It's really hard to have the comfort to take risks when the stakes are so high. My feeling was, if you feed the guppies and the kids grow up with professional equity theater in their curriculum, then they're going to come back as adults. There's again with the guppies. They'll trust it. Really simple.
He's so solid. I mean, I love
Oh,
her.
here, this is where I thought, oh my God, these two are, there's something wrong. Here is Tim on his wife, Melissa Gilbert.
As adults, they'll trust it. Really simple.
They'll trust it. It's really simple.
He's so solid. I mean, I love her so much. Living with her and being married to her, she's so solid. My favorite actor to direct in the whole world is Melissa Gilbert, especially when I'm acting with her. She's just so open. A lot of kid actors, a lot of it comes from her training. As a young kid actor, you don't show up on the set with a lot of attitude.
Listen to that. He knew exactly what he was doing when he married her. Whoever said that earlier, that he picked the right wife on purpose. She was trained as a child actor, and as a kid actor, you don't show up on set with a lot of attitude. So in other words, she doesn't give me a lot of attitude. She does what I want her to do. And look at her. She's like, really? I mean, what a thing to say.
From her training. As a young kid actor, you don't show up on the set with a lot of attitude.
That there is no bad. There's good.
This is them during COVID. She is all over the place during this. This was a whole podcast they did with another couple, and she could not stop moving. Oh, I'm sure she was a victim, Elizabeth. This is what she knows as well.
And lesser levels of good.
Yeah, good.
That's what he said. There's no stop thinking bad. It just isn't there. Just because you didn't get it, what you wanted, you make it bad.
Yeah.
Just because it makes you upset, then you call it bad. Now, there are atrocities that go on out there. Absolutely. But there's development in those atrocities and a chance to grow from those atrocities. Trying to avoid atrocities or trying to avoid calamity is impossible.
It's impossible. Life is. I had rotator cuff surgery recently, and Tim has been my caretaker, and I haven't been able to do my own hair. He knows how to braid hair and how to put hair in a ponytail. He didn't have to be shown or taught or watch a YouTube video.
His wife, Marissa, and there was we got a big house. Melissa got a big Airbnb, and we all were in there, and I was making margaritas all, every day, and it was just a big party. And little Lula Bell, her granddaughter, through Sam Boxleitner is.
I couldn't understand what he said. Lulu Bell, her granddaughter, Sandbox Lightner. I can't understand. That's what the caption says. He's talking about Melissa's granddaughter, Lulu Bell.
Lula Bell, her granddaughter, through Sam Boxleitner is Papa Tim, and she thinks of me as a grandpa, and I just
had these other
Now we got Papa Tim.
Grandchildren. It was something you're used to.
The other one was just only Lula Bell was the only one who sort of was, and that was recently at the wedding. So she always liked me, and little kids, I've always gotten, been really good with kids, entertaining them, and I've always gotten, been really good with kids, entertaining them, and was great with my kids, was a hands-on dad, and I would get up in the middle of the night and bounce them and put them back to sleep and feed them and take care of them, and they knew me for that,
Sure.
being a hands-on dad. So being a grandpa, I just can't wait. I get, getting up in the middle of the night and putting the kid back down, and the delicacy of
Putting the kid back down, like the kid. He sounds so fatherly. He knows how to braid. He's a hands-on dad.
I just can't wait. I get, getting up in the middle of the night and putting the kid back down, and the delicacy of transition from kid asleep on your shoulder to staying asleep on the bed. I feel as though I was a master of that. And the hardest part about parenting is making that stuff, because they're big. And they'll say, don't tell me how to be, and you don't know, and you're no expert, and they say these things to you. And that's the most difficult part, is when they're old enough to actually, they've gone through puberty. The teen years I find the most difficult, because they're also pushing you or pushing themselves out of the nest. That's natural. They know they need to move on. And that doesn't often happen if they're incredibly comfortable at home, and you're incredibly comfortable having them at home. Then it's difficult for them to get up and go. So they kind of hate you from 16, 17, 18 as they prepare to leave the nest.
Oh my gosh. Teresa, yep. Then it must be from her previous Bruce Boxleitner from 95 to 2011. Then she met this creep in 2012 and got married in 2013. I know, just talking about puberty so openly, it's weird.
Mom and I broke up. Daisy and Sam's mom and I broke up when they were 16 and 18. And the 18-year-old had college and a boyfriend who's now the one that has the baby. But the 16-year-old was kind of left behind. And to hear all that, and that was very difficult because they naturally had...
Now, remember what he says about his 16-year-old boy being left behind, right? But he's such a hands-on fucking dad.
...side with mom. And it was just kind of difficult to, have to wait that out. And you can't say anything bad about her. If you say things bad about the mom, it's going to come back on you because they ultimately have to have a healthy relationship with her when she dies. You don't want stuff in between her. You have to build a...
What a weirdo. Because you have to have a healthy relationship with her when she dies.
Baseball field out in the middle of a cornfield like Kevin Costner did.
Shut up. And that's one thing about his interviews. It's all name dropping, all compared to movies. It's so obnoxious.
For her support. I didn't get that from my dad, oddly enough, who was a PhD in theater and taught at Michigan State, but then left the theater behind. And he was not real supportive.
And this guy is from my home state as well, Michigan. We do not own him. We do not accept him. No.
Felt like I needed to be a lawyer or a doctor. And the thing with my dad was, affected me a lot with my stepmom and why she was the way she was. And I guess I had a bit of that then.
Did you?
She was plagued by a lot of mental disorders. I mean,
he's talking about his stepmother here who died. Listen what he says.
And she died fairly young. Look, on her deathbed, she was calling my name.
On her deathbed, she was calling my name because she was so mean to me.
On her deathbed because of how she treated me. Stepkid, I wanted her approval, but she had her own demons, and I ultimately realized that. And I realized that, I think, by the time I was 19. Yeah. I've never been a therapist, and I haven't spent a lot of time.
He's never been to a therapist. Even after 2001, or even after he promised this motherfucker when he touched his daughter that he'd go to therapy. I've never been to a therapist, and he joked about it in this podcast.
And I realized, I think, by the time I was 19. Yeah. I've never been a therapist, and I haven't spent a lot of time with therapists, but, I do have...
But you assaulted a therapist's daughter. Snazzy, thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't have it pulled up. Thank you for letting me know, Snaz. The alerts aren't working. I will read them out. Thank you.
Done researched Eastern philosophies and philosophy, and I'm an actor, right? So, and a director. So how can I pull performances out from, all we have to share is our suffering, I believe, as artists. It's always usually about a better way to illustrate suffering. And if everything in my world turned upside down, I'd head to India, and I would probably spend the rest of my life in some blissful place.
Okay, this is why they cannot let him out. Listen again.
If everything in my world turned upside down, I'd head to India, and I would probably spend the rest of my life in some blissful place.
I don't trust that he won't skip the country. If my world turned upside down, I'd just go to India. He's got a plan. He's been accused before. He knows. He knows what's at stake.
Probably spend the rest of my life in some India. And I would, if everything in my world turned upside down, I'd head to India. And I would probably spend the rest of my life in some blissful place.
Thank you, Snazzy, for your Clicker Cooter chat. Snazzy sent $20. Thank you so much. She says 2026. I am here for it. Expose all of these horrible predators. Thank you, Jay, for using your platform to bring light to this Hollywood epidemic. Thank you so much for your tip. If you would like to tip, the link is at the top of the screen pinned, and I will read them out. I do have them pulled up. Thank you, Snaz. Now, this is him back in his 30-something days. He's going to tell us about what a good daddy is.
I don't get to see him but about every 6 weeks, and I'll see him for a week, and then I'll see him all summer long.
How's he doing?
He's doing really good. He's talking, and he says, you know, dealing with my girlfriend Jennifer, and you know what, she's not mom, and that kind of stuff, and he talks about it, and you know, he'll say things to me, and I'll say, I couldn't talk to my dad like that. You know, I've never been able to talk to my dad like that. Willie, whether we're apart or whether we're together, we still have to raise this, you know, this entity, and
Oops. Oops, look it. I forgot to put my title there. I screwed up. Someone should send that to the DA. Someone should do that ASAP. Before this hearing starts. We got 10 minutes.
About
Like they're
150
gonna get
school
it.
kids a year, don't you,
oh,
in Sacramento?
150,000 we play
That's what I
through
meant.
every year. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's in Sacramento. We
Did you hear that? We got 10 minutes until the hearing.
to raise this, you know, this entity, and
Let me
He calls his son an entity. We still have to raise this entity.
present to about 150 school kids a year, don't you, in
100,
Sacramento?
yeah, 150,000 we play
That's what I
through
meant.
every year. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's in Sacramento. We tour the schools and we do plays for kids and trying to encourage.
So this, what was the year of this one? I couldn't find the year. 90s. This is before he got banned from the Studio B that he's talking about. I have a new stream I'm going to direct everyone over to in just a minute.
The children in writing plays, and then that's the main focus of the theater, is to find the young writer and sort of groom them like athletes and stay with them from 8, 9, 10, 13, 15.
Nonprofit.
Hear that? Groom 'em.
Plays, and then that's the main focus of the theater, is to find the young writer and sort of groom them like athletes and stay with them from 8, 9, 10, 13, 15.
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit Theater for Children, touring Actors Equity. It's a professional company.
Isn't that
Actors
great?
from New York and Los Angeles going into the schools and leaving them walking away saying theater's cool. Because it's I've been playing children. I've been playing people as a character actor. I've played lots of all the plays I did at the Long Wharf or Louisville or all the plays I've done were always sort of out there characters and or maybe The Boy Next Door and young kids and young adolescents going through, you know, puberty and losing their virginity and stuff like that. And now I'm playing somebody who's close.
There he is with the puberty and virginity talk again on a day talk show.
To home.
Who's dealing with life after losing their virginity.
Exactly. And I get to share that, and it's something that I know a lot more, and I can share as a performing artist or an artist. You want to share what you have with people and your interpretation and bring people into that, and I can do that with what I've gone through now, and it's interesting.
Who's this warm-up for?
Well, it's really for all kids ages probably 8 through a 3rd grade through.
This is now in Michigan. This is on the Ticket 97.1, the Ticket in Michigan, which is the sports station, the FM sports station. And this is 2016. He's talking about another camp.
12th grade. Last year we did K-12, but the whole idea of it is to give young students confidence to make theater their extracurricular activity. We show the kids how to dance, how to sing, and how to audition. And we spend time with the littler kids, teaching them to play improv games and just get them up on their feet.
The littler kids, improv games.
Get them experiencing the process so they'll have the confidence to go out. And last year was such a huge success
sorry,
that we have a second one. We already have 250 kids signed up. Last year we had about 200, and this is when all the signees come in, these first few days of school and the last week before we go. So it's going to be great.
What is that?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of bad habits that are created or an opportunity to experience stuff so you can improve. In sport, it's going to be a lot of fun. Drop your kids and pick them up later and buy them a Coney.
And just to sum up then, so you've still got spots open? People can still register?
We're not going to...
Buy him a hot dog, buy him a Coney, drop your kids off, pick them up later.
We're at WKR on the sound stages at WKR, so we've got plenty of room. They're big stages, and we outgrew the library. Was under construction, so we got plenty of room. I'll take up to 400 or 500,
Wow.
and we're at 250 now. And I'm going on TV in the morning and the next morning and another radio show. So I'm looking for at least 300, and we're at 250 now. So come on down. We got room for you.
Just from this interview alone, there'll be thousands.
You know what,
Millions,
Greg?
maybe.
That's why I drove all the way down here. Google them, go sign up on their website, and I guarantee you, your kids. Last year, kids were running up to us in the homecoming parade and hugging us and saying, "I was in the." They loved it.
All those qualities.
Running up, hugging us at the parade.
you're complaining about, the ADD, the needing attention.
Oh, this is probably one of the most disturbing clips as well.
Loved it.
All those qualities that you're complaining about, the ADD, the needing attention, the always competing to be who's funnier, the narcissism and how they look, those are the attributes of a great actor. So a dysfunctional family, when you see these kids, and I've spent a lot of time in education. A few years ago, I was in the schools talking to principals and superintendents, and I was saying, you know, do you have kids that are restless and not focused and over emotional and trying to get attention and acting?
He's asking this fucking superintendent if they have vulnerable children, and he probably wanted to identify them for his program because I can help them.
Focused and over emotional and trying to get attention and acting out, and they go, yeah, what do you do with them? And I said, they're actors.
Yeah,
those are the artists that share that crap. Really successful actors, there's a bit of damage, and I certainly grew up with divorced parents, and my dad chose the other family more than the three of us, and yet I tried to be like him. You know, I think we try to serve. So sure. I don't necessarily look at dysfunction in a childhood and associate it with lack of success in our business. I think it's more the contrary. I think we don't play. Nobody goes to the movies to see a normally balanced, healthy person.
Sure.
We just do them no good. They want to see them at their worst. So, you know, it's important we have that stuff.
Yeah.
Very disturbing knowing what we know. I am going to end the stream now, and we are going to head over to the next stream, which is going to be the hearing. So I'm going to end this. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys over in the hearing, which is set to start in about 5 minutes. It's very disgusting, and we are going to stay on top of this and any other creepos that come our way. I'll see you guys. You'll be automatically transported, so don't go anywhere. Just stay where you are, and I'll see you over in the next stream. Thanks, guys.